stuff. And in this particular video, I will talk about something that isn't exactly on the mind of a whole lot of people relative to the number of people in the world, at least in the West. People who live in comfy places where there is no war, and good for you. And I hope that you never know what it's like to live in a war zone. But you should have some comprehension. At least I hope you never personally find out. Let's put it that way. If you've never lived in a war zone, I hope you manage to avoid it. Unless there's a particular reason you can't. Like if you choose to live in a country that happens to be in one. As many do when they move to places like Israel, for example. Right? Or even if they just work there for some time. Well, when the war comes, how do you power trade Bitcoin? And I mean by that, literally, sometimes in war, when you're just living at home and your country's in a war, you're working from home, you're trading from home, sometimes the power just goes out. It could be a rocket attack, it could be some other thing, it could be too high of a demand because of some event that happens somewhere else in the country, and your power goes out. What do? Well, hopefully you've got backup supplies, maybe a generator or two. If not, hopefully you've got a bunch of batteries, and hopefully your power comes back on relatively soon before your devices and appliances run out of the power they need. It'll affect everything from your food in your fridge and your freezer to any medicines that might need to be cooled, or any medical related machines that need power to operate, or computers, or general things day to day that people use in the mid first half of the 21st century. So, what do? Well, if you happen to be trading an open position when the power goes out, as I've said many times, you need to have the app on your phone for the exchange you're using, or web access via your phone to the exchange you're trading on, so that you can close your trades, right? Because you don't want to be, well, personally, I don't trade on mobile phones, so the only thing I'll ever do on a mobile phone is exactly that. I close positions on my mobile phone, and that's all I do. I'm not going to chart trading view on my phone. That's just insane. And I'm not going to do it on a tablet. It's just not my cup of tea. I'm sure there are plenty of people who do that kind of thing and even trade on their phone, and yip-de-doo. Good for you. Congratulations. For me personally, I don't want to be trading on anything less than at the very bare minimum, if I'm traveling, like with a laptop or something. And even that, I would be hesitant, a bit more hesitant than usual to trade, because, generally I want to see a couple of different screens at least, if not a few, to see the charts on different screens and the trading application, exchange, or whatever on another screen, so that I can keep an eye on everything that I need to at a glance, and then run the trades as necessary. It doesn't mean you can't do it on a laptop or a desktop with one screen. You sure can. It's just more convenient if you have multiple screens, that's all. And so that is my typical preference for that. And absolutely, I would not recommend, doing this on a mobile phone or a tablet or anything. Okay, so that's one topic. Next thing is we've seen this whole concept, and I mentioned it earlier in a video, that the US government is rumored to be considering selling 69,000 Bitcoin or whatever. Keep in mind that that's about, a little bit more than 0.5%, right, of the available coins, right? No, sorry, a little bit less than 0.5%, right? Because 210,000 coins is 1% of the market, so of the available max supply. So 69,000 would be less than 0.5%, right? By about 30%, less than 0.5%. So it's like 0.35% or whatever. If the US government sells off 0.35% of the max supply, it's just not going to make a massive dump. And I know people will say, well, look at what happened when Germany dumped. No, the price fell because of the VEPs, not because Germany dumped. And remember what happened to those coins that Germany dumped? Yeah, they got bought up. It's not like they just sat on some exchange and they just put them on some exchange and no one bought them. They got gobbled up quickly. Oh, but the price dumped hard. Yeah, not because of the German dump, which again was required by law, but because the VEPs had indicated that's where the price was going, following the returns to the south. Right, this is back in like late July, early August, and so it's no surprise that what happened happened, and we saw it quickly recover that same week and bounce quite nicely, right? And made a lot of people in August a pretty penny if they were longing from the time it hit the bottom or even near it, and took multiple trades to the upside, right? Or even those who just went gung-ho and just longed from the bottom and held until it reached the top before it dropped down again at the beginning of August. Beginning of September, from which it did the same thing. It bounced up again very nicely for September. In September, which a lot of YouTube Jimmies have been saying would be a down month, ended up being an up month. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. And now everybody's saying, well, October is going to be an up month. What have the VEPs been showing you? And what have I been telling you for weeks? We could easily see the asset go down for the first couple of weeks, easily the first week and a half, right, before finding a bottom, quote unquote, meaning an area where there's enough buy pressure to start driving it back to the upside. And what's it been doing so far? in October, it's basically been going down. You had some upward candles as well along the way on lower time frames, and trending moves to the upside as well as to the downside. But overall, it has been heading south, and it should come to no surprise to anybody who's been listening to what I've been saying about trading the VEPs. So should you be really worried if the US government decides to sell off 69,000 Bitcoins? No, not really. It will have a negligible effect because those coins will be bought up. They're not just going to sit there on the market and never be bought up by anybody. Right? They'll be bought pretty much the moment they're available. And guess who's going to buy them? On whatever mechanism they choose to sell it on, whether it's multiple platforms, multiple CEXs, multiple DEXs, who knows, right? Maybe an auction, whatever it is they're going to do. The likelihood that it will make a bit's worth of difference to the price overall, just because they're selling, is negligible, right? The thing that will determine the price when they sell is how much buying pressure is there to meet that supply. As long as the selling pressure is greater, the price will fall. And once the buy pressure is significant enough, the price will rise. It's really that simple, right? And if you think people aren't going to be buying it as the price falls, if it does, well, then you've got another thing coming. And you'll see that setup before they do the sale on the VEPs. Why? Because the volatility will tell you which way it's likely to go. And so will the entropy, right? And you'll see the probabilities and statistics very clearly. How will you see them? With the alpha trading tools. How do you get the alpha trading tools? You have to learn how to use the free tools from Alpha Trading. Once you know how to use the free tools, and you've actually, demonstrated to yourself that you're good enough to use those tools to trade, well, then you can even use our advanced tools if you want. Those are available for any subscription fee, and you even get a couple of weeks to try them completely for free, so that it should be a completely no-brainer event. You should know by the time you use them that it's obvious that these things work. And the power tools that we have in our Pro Trader subscription are worth way more than the price we charge for them. If it's not a no-brainer, it means you haven't learned the free tools yet. And so that's why I say you have to learn the free tools first, right? Because you don't want to use that 2-week trial for nothing, only to end up seeing that you don't know what you're doing. And by the way, if you try the free trial and you see in the first day or two, or even the first week, that it's not working out for you because you haven't learned the basics yet, just tell us and we will pause that free trial for you, and you can continue it when you're good and ready. Because frankly, once you know how to use the tools, even a day will be good enough. A week, certainly more than enough. All right, that's it, folks. By the way, just go to alphatradinghq.com/discord to get the free tools. Once again, that's alphatradinghq.com/discord. Okay, folks, that's it. Happy trading.